समन्ता चक्रवालेषु अत्रा गच्छन्तु देवता सद्धम्मं मुनिराजस्य सुनन्तु सग्गमोक्षदं ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං භදන්තා ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං භදන්තා ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං භදන්තා. May all divine beings arrive here to listen to sublime Dhamma expounded by the fully enlightened one. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. Honor to him, the blessed one, the exalted one, the fully enlightened one. Meritorious devotees, Dhamma friends, we have got the opportunity to listen to sublime Dhamma expounded by the enlightened one. The enlightened ones are born to this world in order to explicate the reality of the world, that is anicca, impermanence, dukkha, suffering or unsatisfactoriness, anatta, soullessness or unsubstantiality. Their unsatisfactoriness or dukkha or suffering has been explicated vividly by the fully enlightened one. Meritorious devotees, there are four noble truths, the fundamental doctrine of the Supreme Buddha, the essence of the Dhamma can be called the four noble truths. First one, suffering, the noble truth of suffering. Secondly, the noble truth of the origin of suffering. Third one, the noble truth of the cessation of suffering. The fourth one, the noble truth that the path leading to the cessation of suffering. These are the four noble truths. The first one can be viewed like this. In Dhammacakkappavattana discourse, that is the first discourse delivered by the fully enlightened one to the five ascetics on a Asalafoya day at Benares, Isipatana. There, the Buddha explicated vividly about this first truth of suffering. It begins, or it goes like thus: Jatipi dukkha, jarapi dukkha, vyadhipi dukkho, maranampi dukkham, appiyehi sampayogo dukkho, piyehi vipayogo dukkho, yampichchang na labhati tampi dukkham, sankittena panchupadanakkhandha dukkha. Now we have to pay attention on how Buddha has elaborated on the topic called suffering or unsatisfactoriness. Jati vidukkha, the birth is suffering, the birth. Jara vidukkha, decay is suffering. Vyadhi vidukkho, illness is suffering. Maranam vidukkha, death is suffering. Appiyehi sampayogo dukkho, association with the unpleasant is suffering. And piyehi vipayogo dukkho, departing from the pleasant is suffering. Yampichchang nalabhati thampi dukkham, what one does not get is suffering. Sankittena panchupadana khanda dukkha. In a nutshell, the 5 aggregates of clinging is suffering. Now, birth, how birth is suffering? Now, you may tend to think birth is just mere coming to this world as a human being for the first time. According to the Supreme Buddha's teachings, we have been born in this, endless samsara for number of times, millions, trillions of times, not only as human beings, but also as beings in the hell or purgatory, or beings in the animal plane, beings in the preta world, beings in the other asura world, Vidob, and also the dwarf world, and also beings as divine beings in that world, and Brahma world, the formless form celestial beings, the Brahma world. So we have been born in those planes of existence for innumerable times. Now, sometimes we get kind of luxurious lives. For example, when we are born in celestial places, divine places, we have a luxurious lives. But when it comes to the places like hell, we cannot explicate the suffering that we have to undergo. There are 2 discourses I can mention in this regard to be important to read. First one is what is called Divine Messengers, Discourse on Divine Messengers, 3rd section of the Middle Lane Discourses. And the second discourse is Bala Pandita discourse, that is about the wise and the unwise persons, the discourse on the wise and the unwise persons. I can remember when I was delivering a Dhamma sermon in America to the white persons there regarding the hell, they asked me whether the Supreme Buddha has expounded about the hell. Then I said, yes, of course. Then they asked, where? Then I said, it is mentioned here in the Middle Lane Discourses in Divine Messengers, the discourse called Divine Messengers, that is what is called Deva Duta discourse. Then they wanted to borrow the book, and I allowed them to take it home, and after 2 days they brought it back and talked to me, and they replied to me, yes, of course it is mentioned here and we accept it because the Buddha has expounded it. First of all, they were somewhat suspicious whether it was my own idea, but later on they got to know that is not my own idea, but it was the idea of the Supreme Buddha. Buddha has expounded it. Therefore, there is a place called the hell, purgatory. But with the eye of our human flesh and blood, we cannot see it, we cannot witness it. We have to have what is called divine eye, dibba chakku, in order to see it, in order to witness it. Therefore, meritorious devotees, Dhamma friends, you have to understand there are things beyond our senses. Those are extra senses, not our senses can perceive them. Yeah, they are beyond our perception. Therefore, extrasensory powers are essential to see them. Buddha has said you can gain them by meditation. Being mindful, you can come to certain jhanas, absorptions. If you come to the fourth jhana, you can definitely get a knowledge called Pubbe Nivasanussati. That is, to read the past lives, that you have lived. Now, in this regard, it is a great instance to explain about Venerable Ajahn Brahm, a born British, and also born Christian, who studied in the University of Cambridge theoretical physics. At the age of 17, he got an idea that he was not a Christian but a Buddhist. Then he joined the Buddhist Association of the university, and later on, after completion of the degree, he became a tutor of a school, and later on he came to Thailand and became a monk, and he started to meditate in Poras, and finally he gained some jhanas, absorptions, and came to a kind of elevated mind, come to a kind of concentrated mind, and finally he became the abbot of monastery in Australia, in the Perth, Bodhinyana Monastery. Now these days he is the chief abbot of Bodhinyana Monastery at Bodhinyana Monastery in Perth, Australia. Generally he visits Sri Lanka here and there, most probably once a year, and he visits other countries and delivers the doctrine of the Supreme Buddha, born Christian. Therefore, that is a good example. He came to this Dhamma by following it, not mere acceptance, by following. Now, one quality of our Dhamma, of the Supreme Buddha, is ehi passiko, come and see. Now, in other religions, there is what is called come and believe kind of force. This force, the divine intervention, is not there in Buddhism. Come and see yourself. You can experience whether this Dhamma is authentic. Then you can experience. Now, regarding what is called, my friends, regarding suffering, jatipi dukkha, birth is suffering. Now, because of birth, that we have to undergo all these things, you understand. Mental suffering, physical suffering, right? Even though superficial level, there is a kind of satisfaction, kind of luxurious life, but in deep manner, you can see how suffering goes on and on, right? Everybody in the world have this physical and mental suffering. Maybe they are physically okay, but mentally suffering due to various reasons. Sometimes due to homely things, right? Sometimes due to educational, sometimes due to political, sometimes due to economic, sometimes due to social, sometimes due to environmental. So various types of suffering taking place, and we have to have some kind of mental suffering like that, and physically definitely these days, due to the food that we take, due to the environmental pollution and various things, we have to suffer physically. Therefore, Dhamma friends, this suffering is taking place. Suffering is there because of birth. As long as we have been born, we have to suffer. That's why Buddha said birth is suffering. Now this statement is unchallengeable. Nobody can challenge. There is no suffering due to birth. You understand, meritorious devotees, Dhamma friends. And also, another thing is sickness is suffering. You understand? Sickness is suffering. And also, decay is suffering. Charapi dukkha. Nobody can say. So, decay is not suffering. Now, you are born as a small baby, right? Then you were very pleasant. Everybody loves you. And also, you can remember when you go to, most probably at the age of 5th and 6th, most probably from the age 4, sometimes you can remember how they like you, how parents like you, how teachers like you, and how society like you, like that. You can remember how, just like a lotus flower, how you bloomed, how you were blooming. And gradually when it comes to the age of 30, 35, 40, right? Now your appearance, goes bad. It becomes weaker. The strength will disappear, right? Gradually your hair becomes gray. Your body becomes crooked, and also skin withered. So like that, various changes taking place in the body. Some changes are not to be understood. Without our understanding, without our knowledge, they are taking place. However, decay is taking place. Now this is suffering. This is suffering. Finally, when it comes to the final level, finale, the climax, sometimes you cannot eat something with your own hand. Somebody should spoon with a spoon should feed you. Otherwise, you cannot actually feed yourself with your own hands. Sometimes when you are in the hospital, others attend on you. So that is the reality. That is the reality. That's why Buddha said, decay is suffering. But we cannot see when we are strong, when we are young, when we are middle-aged, we cannot see it. But later on, we can understand this. When we understand, time has gone by. But the people, the older generation understand, but the younger generation don't understand this at the proper time. They try to understand at a time when they are not strong, then they can do nothing regarding that. Because Buddha said, this is not the first time that we are aging in the samsara. How many times that we have become aged and we had to die. Therefore, we have to accumulate merits. That's why Buddha said we have to accumulate merits by charity, offering, and having a virtuous conduct, sila, and having a concentrated mind, mindfulness, meditation. Especially the essence of Buddhism is this mental power, mindfulness. The Western world is really interested in this mental power, the mindfulness taught in Buddhism. That is why a lot of foreigners are interested in meditation, mindfulness. Even the some parliamentarians in Britain and in Australia, in USA, are following meditation according to the recent records. Therefore, meritorious devotees, Dhamma friends, the Supreme Buddha has expounded good meritorious deeds to be done, to be carried out before becoming aged, before going to die. So, Dhamma friends, another kind of suffering is what is called sickness. Now you can understand how various types of diseases damage the lives of the innocent people. Our dengue is a kind of very, very dangerous disease these days, right? People have to die, they have to suffer. Now, sickness is suffering. Nobody can say sickness is very good, illness is good. Now, that's why Buddha, before 2500 years, delivered and expounded about this. And the next one is, what is called Apphi Sampayogo Dukkho. Now, we have to associate the unpleasant, that is suffering, on various occasions, sometimes at the working place, sometimes at home, sometimes in our countries. We have to associate, unpleasant people. It is suffering. Sometimes neighborhood, right? Suffering. And dissociation from the pleasant, departing from the pleasant is suffering. So our beloved parents, they depart, suffering. Our beloved children, our beloved relatives, our beloved friends, they depart, suffering. Now you can understand due to landslides, due to floods. Now how many relatives, the pleasant people, departed from others, that is suffering. And what is called Piye Vipayogo Dukkha is that Yam Pichan Nalabati Tampi Dukkha. And also you have to remember death is suffering. Maranampi Dukkha. Now nobody likes death. Death is suffering. But we have to face it. One day we have to face. Yam Pichan Nalabati Dukkha. What one wants. Now if one wants something, if they cannot gain it, is suffering. Now here it means we like to have a healthy life, but we cannot have healthy life according to our wish. This is soulless. That's why according to our wish we cannot manipulate things. And another thing is that we cannot have longevity. We cannot have deathlessness. So we have to undergo all these things. We like to have healthy life, longevity, deathlessness, but we have to undergo all that. That is suffering. Sankittena panchupadana khanda dukkha. Finally, the Buddha says, in a nutshell, 5 aggregates of clinging. What are 5 aggregates? Form, rupa, feelings, vedana, perception, sanya, volition, sanskara, and final one, consciousness, vijnana. All these 5 aggregates, the 5 aggregates of clinging, on the whole, is suffering according to the Supreme Buddha. Now, I am not going to explicate according to the time available about 5 aggregates of clinging. With the, our life is formed with these 5 aggregates. Therefore, meritorious devotees, Dhamma friends, in this Dhamma sermon, I wanted to explicate about one aspect of 4 noble truths. The first factor, that is suffering. So you try to understand this factor fully, and we must comprehend this in order to get rid of this dangerous samsaric life. May all of you be able to comprehend fully about this first noble truth of suffering. May the noble triple gem bless with you all. ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරන් රැක්කන්තු ශාසනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරන් රැක්කන්තු දේශනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරන් රැක්කන්තු තං සදා. May you all be well and happy.